So this is a push button. This is, I believe, what you have in your kits. And it's a very simple button. You just push it down, it goes on. It's got a spring, you release it, it goes off. The first time you used it was on ground wire. So the first circuit I had you guys doing in Project 2 was to take the ground wire. You had one side of the ground wire coming in and the other side coming out. What we're going to do in this tutorial is, this is going to show how you can use the programming to do the buttons, to have the button control a program so that you can change the functionality. So ultimately what we're going to do is have a toggle. So there's an LED here on the circuit, and this circuit, there is a diagram in GitHub. It's called change state, because we're going to change the state of the button. We're going to keep track of it, and it's something that you can use it in Project 2 or not. You don't have to, but it's a really good thing to know in terms of programming, because it introduces you to the idea of logic. So the different circuit here on the button is that there's two ground wires. So the green alligator clips are connecting to black wires, which are ground wires. So on the button I've got green because I ran out of black alligator clips. But you can see that all the green alligator clips go to ground wire, and that all the red ones are 5 volts of electricity. So if you look at my board, I've got 5 volts of electricity and ground on this side of the breadboard. And you need to use 5 volts. It might not work with 3.3. I'm not sure if it will, but it'll definitely work with 5 volts. And the reason for that I can explain later. Okay, so I've got the breadboard has 5 volts of power on this side, ground on the other side, and then I jump it over to the other side as well. So both sides of the breadboard have 5 volts of power and ground. So the ground wires on the pin have a 10k ohm resistor. So the button has a 10k ohm resistor between the two ground wires. One of the ground wires goes into pin 2 on the Arduino. So pin 2 is plugged into the button, and it's going to be an input. The other side of the button is plugged into 5 volts of power. So what that means is every time you push the button, you're inputting 5 volts of electricity into pin 2. And then when we look at the software side, you'll see how we program pin 2 to make it function as a button, to do it the function that we want, which is a toggle function. The other pin I'm using for the LED runs off of pin 13. So pin 13, when it's set high in program, is going to power the LED. So you can see that yellow wire is on the power side of the LED. The ground wire has a 100 ohm resistor. So kind of hard to see, but you can see the positive side of the LED is there. Yellow wire is power when it is turned on by the button. So I push the button, power goes on. So it's a pretty simple circuit. And the only real new thing is the idea that there's two ground wires running off of one side and power running off the other side of the button. So we're doing this, we're using the button. It'll appear to the user that they push the button and the light goes on, but in reality, you're going to program the button. So you push the button and you're sending 5 volts of power into pin 2. And then we're going to program pin 2 that when pin 2 is high, turn on the LED. And if the LED is on and the user pushes the button again, turn it off. So this is the idea of a toggle. Push it once, goes on, push it again, goes off. Just like a switch in your house for the lights, on, off.